Hello, mathematicians. Today we're going to be learning about real-world representations of integers. So in this slide, we're talking about Celsius and Fahrenheit. So when you define it, I want you to think about what is it used for? What does it measure? And then you're going to look at the picture I provided here, and you're going to include that information in the model within your definition, okay? So take a close look at this picture and see what it says. What does it describe? And make sure you include it within your definition of Celsius and Fahrenheit. Our next slide says, for precipitation to be snow, it needs to be at most blank degrees Celsius or blank degrees Fahrenheit. So what's the highest temperature that we need to have? Meaning, if we had 1 degree higher, there would no longer be snow. All right, so what's the highest temperature that we could have for there to be snow? Afterwards, you're going to write an inequality that represents the temperature needed for snow. So inequality is when we use symbols such as less than, greater than, less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to. And because we're not describing a specific temperature, meaning there could be multiple temperatures that will be cold enough for you to have snow, you're going to use X. So I want to know what temperature is X either less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to for there to be snow. On the next slide, it reads, for water to boil, the stove needs to be at least blank degrees Celsius or blank degrees Fahrenheit. So, what is the minimum temperature that we need for water to boil? All right, meaning if it were 1 degree lower, the water would not boil, okay? So what's the minimum that it needs to be? That it cannot be lower than that number. Afterwards, you're going to write an inequality that represents the temperature needed for water to boil. So again, inequality is when we use symbols such as less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. All right, so because we're not talking about specific temperature, X is either going to be less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to blank. So I want to know what it would be in order for the stove to be hot enough to boil water. All right, on this next slide, we're talking about both Celsius and Fahrenheit. So temperature can be represented as A or N blank. Make sure you select all that apply. Can temperature be a positive number? Can it be a negative number? Can it be a whole number? Can it be an integer? Can it be a fraction? Or can it be a decimal? All right? Just because temperature could be multiple of these, I also want to know what temperature is typically represented as. So even though it could be multiple, it's typically represented as A or N blank. So that would just be one word. And then finally, well, actually 2 more slides, use both the horizontal and the vertical number line to explain how can you determine which integer is larger if both integers are negative. So you have to justify here that -5 is less than -2. I'm telling you that it is, so you have to explain why. So use your number line to explain it. And then here we have a similar problem. So this time you're going to use your number line to explain that -2 is greater than -3, okay? Remember to use both the horizontal number line and the vertical number line and have an explanation for each. And that's it.